On this episode of Ion, we treat you to the first in a series of nature tours at Okatee Creek Front 9 Golf Course with the Crescent Creek neighborhood. But first, Georgia Lash interviews Wayne Porter at the first District 7 Concrete Cocktails, which was held at the Pavilion. And she also interviews our very own Chris Chase, who chaired the event. Let's watch.
Here in Sun City, we have so many opportunities to get together. We go to club meetings, we go to neighborhood parties, we go to Sun City's performances at Magnolia Hall. But today, I'm at a district event. District 7's neighborhoods are having a concrete and cocktails party. Sounds like another new way to have fun in our neighborhoods. With me is Wayne Porter. Wayne, you are the District 7 representative.
Yes.
Okay, my first question to you. For our viewing audience, what is the Sun City District concept? If you'd please explain that to us.
Sure. If you think about it, there's 56 neighborhoods right now, and I don't know, 8,000 plus homes. So that's a large group to try to consolidate with people, and each neighborhood has 2 representatives, so it's a lot of people to try to get anything done. So by dividing it into districts, you get smaller groups that are able to share concerns, talk about issues, and to air out anything that they might need, or if they're new people, get them trained.
So how are the districts organized? What was the system in putting them together?
I really wasn't here when they started that. So I think it's kind of just geographic as they looked at it. I noticed that in District 7, most of the people are to the west side of Sun City on the north side is where our groups are, and we're made up of 9 different neighborhoods at this point.
Now, can you tell me the size of your district? How many residents or rooftops, I guess we always say?
Oh, wow. I haven't really added them all up. I think our issue is kind of unique compared to some of the south side because it's very well established over there, and they're not building really any new homes. We're constantly building. Greenbrier right now I think only has about 10 or 12 homes, but eventually there'll be 100 plus. So in total, it might be 800 homes when it's all done, unless they redivide us again, because they've got more neighborhoods that they're going to be building.
Now, what additional responsibilities has this brought to you as a neighborhood rep, now becoming the district rep?
It's not as bad as I kind of thought it would be initially. I thought it was going to be a lot of work. But the concept is really to take, in this case, 9 different neighborhoods, which is then 18 people, pull them together once a quarter, and talk about things that are going on that we have to deal with. The other is you may get a new representative or a brand new neighborhood, and they're not sure what to do or how to do it, so then I can help train them, direct them. If they've got a question or a concern that they don't know where to go to, who to talk to. So I'm actually learning a lot as I do it as well.
Well, you've shared enough information with me to help me understand it better, and I'm sure our viewers as well. Thank you so much, and good luck with your district.
Thank you.
If we have anybody to thank for this night's event, it's Chris Chase. You've organized this.
Yes, I did.
Now, is this the first District 7 event?
Ever, yes, it is, and it's been a ball to do. What happened was we had all the social chairs together, and because it's north side, there's a lot of new neighborhoods.
Okay.
And because they have a lot of new neighborhoods, some of them are very small, so they have a hard time getting together.
Okay.
So I decided, let's have a concrete and cocktail for the whole district, and everybody can meet everybody.
Good thinking, good thinking. Now, you know, I've been a social committee person, you're a social committee person. How hard was it to really then organize? You got the idea, how hard was it to organize?
I am not going to cry about this.
So
No,
getting
it really wasn't that difficult. It was just a matter. There are so many wonderful neighborhood reps, social chairs in District 7. It really was a piece of cake to do.
So flyer out, get the event going. Okay, sounds good. Now, let me just take you aside from the idea of the event tonight. You've been involved in this newly formed district, because they're all relatively newly formed. Can I ask, how do you feel, or what do you feel are the advantages to the district concept?
Well, it's nice because Sun City is a very large place. We're all friendly, everybody's wonderful, but you don't really get to spend a lot of time with everybody. This way you get to interact with a lot of people. And as you can see here, I mean, these are 9 different neighborhoods all coming together, and they're close to each other. So they're going to have events in the future together.
That's right. Now, my question then would be, you picked a perfect venue. I mean, this is great. You can accommodate hundreds in here. Did you think about what you might also be planning for your district events? What are some of the other things that maybe came up?
Well, I've been thinking about things because, again, we have small neighborhoods and larger neighborhoods. I was thinking maybe we could do something like Halloween parties, holiday parties. Again, if you've got like 40 houses, it's tough to get Pickney Hall or the Lake House, right?
You're right. And on the other hand, for some of the neighborhoods, if you want to have a dance, and you have an aging neighborhood that perhaps has lost some of the participation, hard to get them to come.
Yep. North side, we really do have quite a few younger people. And quite frankly, sometimes I have a hard time keeping up with that. But it makes it fun. And I mean, it's everybody's different. They come from all over.
I don't think we can ever say anything bad about another chance to get together to have fun in our neighborhoods.
Absolutely not.
Thank you for letting us come.
Thanks for coming.
I'm with Patrick Metcalf, and Patrick, you are the past District 7 chair. And tell us a little bit more about this district concept. Were you the first District 7 chair? What does this really do for us as opposed to our neighborhood concept?
Well, let me give you an answer to the first one. There are 56 neighborhoods in the community. That means you've got 112 reps and alternate reps that show up all at once during an NRC meeting or getting information. The primary responsibility of a neighborhood rep and the entire neighborhood setup here is communication. It's very difficult to communicate to 112 people at the same time. So years ago, I don't know, it's like 10, 12, 15 years ago, they started separating, congregating neighborhoods together to create this district concept to make the communication easier. When I took over as the District 7 chair, which was about 2.5 years ago, at that point in time, everything on the north side was one district, and it was getting too big, too many communities. So we broke it up. They're now going to, in District 7, there are 8 neighborhoods. In District 6, which is the other one on the north side, there are 7 neighborhoods. So it's a little more manageable.
Thank you to District 7 for allowing us to come in and see what it's like when we get our neighborhoods together in our neighborhoods.
Come with us as Crescent Creek tours the front 9 of Okatee Golf Course.
Well, welcome everybody. This is Crescent Creek neighborhood. So we're really glad to have you come on this nature tour. This nature tour, well, first of all, my name is Cherry Underwood. I'm the treasurer for the Bird Club. And my co-guide over here, an excellent driver, is Jeannie Carmichael. And Jeannie is with the Avant-Gardeners and also the Okatee Creek Farmers. And so this tour has been put together by a number of groups: Troon Golf, the Bird Club, the Avant-Gardeners, the Fishing and Hunting Club. Don't think I'm forgetting anybody else. So a number of groups that have put this together and helped develop the scripts and what we're telling everybody. It gives people a great opportunity to see the golf course. How many of you are not golfers? Yeah, so when you're not a golfer, you don't get to have an opportunity to get out on the golf course. And so you don't see this wonderful amenity. And Okatee Creek and Hidden Cypress, they're a wonderful nature preserve aspect to the golf course, the golf courses. And so we hope to see a lot of different birds and different animals out here today. But first I want to just give you a little history of the what was here before Sun City was built. This land was used to build or to grow cotton and indigo. Those were the staple crops of South Carolina. And then in the 1940s, actually 1943, the Argent Cattle and Lumber Company bought this property, and they had hardwood foresting, harvesting on this land. And actually, when last week when we were driving out through Ridgeland, I actually saw a train that said Argent Land Company on it. So I was really surprised to see that train. But they did hardwood harvesting on here. They also had some hunting camps. Then in 1958, Union Camp bought that, and then they converted it to a loblolly pine forest. And the loblolly pines are these pines that you see here. And very often when you're driving around Sun City, or in particular when you're out on 278, you'll take a look and see a lot of pine trees, and they're really in a row. Well, Mother Nature didn't put them that way. Those were the remnants of the pine plantation. And loblolly pine was used a lot in paper manufacturing, and actually the International Paper Company, that's what eventually bought out the Union Camp Company. And then in 1994, that's when Sun City and Del Webb purchased this property. It was at that time that a lot of things changed here. The interchanges to 95, the widening of US 278, also Buford Jasper put in a $11 million water project in this area, so things really changed. And then the official groundbreaking was in 1994. This golf course, Okatee Creek, is the first golf course in Sun City, and this one was put in 1995. So this will give everybody a new opportunity to see some city, even those who are golfers. Very often you're just really concentrating on getting that ball down the fairway and into the green, and so you may not be able to look around. And we've had many people say that, you know, after they've gone on a nature tour like this, even if they're golfers, they start to appreciate it and they start to notice different things around the golf course, different birds and so forth. One thing I want to point out to you is there's a house right down there on the edge of the lagoon. That was put in there for wood ducks. Wood ducks are absolutely gorgeous ducks. I don't know if anybody's ever seen a wood duck. The males are stunning. And they are cavity nesting ducks. And in fact, in nature or out in the wild more, they will build their nest in the cavity of a tree. And it's amazing because there could be, you know, several feet up in the tree, and when the babies are finally born, the mama duck will be down at the bottom in the woods, and the babies, the first thing they have to do is fall down, like 30 to 40 feet, fall down onto the ground and follow mama to the water. So those nesting boxes have been put in to sort of help the wood duck population. So fox squirrels really like it out on the golf course, also bluebirds. Bluebirds like that open story, and that's why the bird club, at the request of the golf club, or Troon Golf, have put bluebird boxes on every single hole of the golf course, on Okatee, on Hidden Cypress, and also on Argent. One of the things I want to point out is those beautiful trees over there. Those are date palms. They're very stately, just beautiful, beautiful trees. Those are not native, and you'll hear Jeannie and me talk a lot about native plants, and we'll talk about it later on in more depth as to why we discuss native plants so much. But those are not native. They are really at the northernmost edge of where they will survive. And if anybody was around here a couple of years ago when we had the snowstorm, some of them didn't make it, like the ones on Sun City Boulevard and Red Dam, here in Cypress. A couple of them had to be replaced because the weather was too harsh for them. But they are gorgeous. You contrast those with the trees behind you. Those are sable palms. And these palm trees are native to South Carolina. And so they will withstand our climate fluctuations, the heat, the cold, a lot better than a date palm will. And that is the tree that is on our flag. And then as we go around the corner on that way, we will see one of the bluebird boxes. Oh yeah, the great blue heron is squawking over there. We will see one of the bluebird boxes that was put in, and the Bird Club actually has put in well over 100 bluebird boxes throughout the community. And crows are really part of the corvid family, very, very smart birds. How many of you have seen some of the programs on crows where they learn how to use tools and they learn all sorts of things? There was a really fascinating show one time where somebody did a research and they put a mask on, a really ugly looking mask, and went by the crows, and then they would try to scare them. And then the same person would walk right by the crow again without that mask on. The crows would not react. And the really fascinating part of it is that that information was imparted from the parent crow to the baby crow. And so when the baby saw that person with the mask, they reacted. So they're very, very smart. They know how to use tools to get to what they need to do. Jays are also part of the crow family. What we have around here are two different kinds of crows. We actually have the American crow, and they look the same. So when you're looking at them, it's very difficult to tell the difference between the two.
The fish crow is the other one. Yeah.
But the American crow, is that really that caw, caw. And the other crow is called a fish crow, and it's called a fish crow because it likes to be around water and it likes to hunt for fish, and it has a much more nasal sound to it. These two holes, 4 and 5, are the coldest in winter. The wind just kind of blows down here and it gets to be pretty chilly. What you see behind you, it looks like a river, doesn't it? But it's actually just a really large lagoon. But it is so big that in winter sometimes we will have some of our wintering ducks come down here. We have the beautiful hooded mergansers that are in here. Pied-billed grebes will be in here. And so it's just gorgeous. I just saw a little blue heron, but he flew. One of the things I want to talk about is you'll see signs around the golf course that say this is an Audubon International certified golf course. Now, it's not the Audubon for birds that people are more familiar with. The Audubon International is an organization that will certify golf courses, home associations or communities, and they have to meet certain standards in order to be certified. And there's really some key tenets of Audubon International. One of them is the wildlife and habitat management. Another one deals with the chemical use and reduction. And then the third one is water conservation. So as you know, I'll start with water conservation. Golf courses use a lot of water. They have to keep the greens nice and green. They've got a lot of expanse to water. So they do monitor the water usage, and they also have started to reduce the amount of area that has to be watered. So they will expand the no-mow areas. So some of these areas down here, they just have been mowed, but they will let them grow up again in the summer, and it provides habitat for, reptiles, for birds, and so forth. And and it also does provide some habitat for wildlife when you have areas like that, because you could have frogs, you could have little lizards and so forth, right in here. The wading birds can be right along the edge eating some of those frogs and so forth, and the little fish. And as far as the chemical use and reduction, they do reduce the amount of chemicals that they use by not having everything mowed down and grown and mowed down. So they do look at the use of the chemicals, and water quality is something that they get tested on, and so that all falls into some of what they need to do in order to become certified. The Oconee Creek and Hidden Cypress are both Audubon Internationally certified. As soon as Argent Lakes is complete, the golf course is complete, but as soon as they complete some of the other work that they have to do, then they will go for that certification also. Another thing that Jeannie just pointed out is the fact that we do have the wildflowers on there. So that was just put in, last year, Jeannie, right? Last year, they put the wildflower garden in there because that gives a place for pollinators. And so it's all part of making this much more in tune with nature and not just to have it mowed down and put a lot of chemicals in here. So I think the golf course folks do a great job in maintaining this for wildlife. And they have a tough job to do because they've got to keep the playability of the course. They've got to make it exciting and good for the golfers, but they also want to meet those guidelines for Audubon International and also be allowed to have, a lot of wildlife in here. So they do a fantastic job. So we're going to talk about native plants here, and we are standing underneath a couple of our native plants. One is, this is a live oak, and so this is a live oak tree, one of our native plants in South Carolina. And also we've got all of this Spanish moss. And someone correctly said it's really not Spanish and it's not a moss. It's part of the bromeliad family, just like pineapple. Some of the plants that we associate with the South, like the crepe myrtle, the azaleas, oleander, those are camellias. Those are not native, but they're associated. They have beautiful blooms and so forth, but they are not native.
Jean, tell us about your role with this absolutely fabulous peek into our natural habitats here.
I'm a member of the Golf Course Nature Tour Steering Committee, and that is comprised of members of many clubs like the Hunting and Fishing Club, the Bird Club, the Avant Gardeners, the Oakity Farmers, and the Golf Course Club. That's the biggest. We are now just recently put as a SIG, special interest group, under the Golf Course Club.
Excellent. That's good news for you to share with us. All right. Now, the second thing I would ask you is, I look at Sun City as one big neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And so I look at this as a chance for me to see my backyard.
That's true.
And what would you hope would be the takeaway all of our tourists, so to speak, would leave with?
Well, many comments have been told to us that this is a perfect way to see the back of the homes that I'm enjoying the front of because there's so many non-golfers. Mm-hmm. And this golf course is just one of the most beautiful amenities of Sun City. I mean, not only Oakity Creek, but Hidden Cypress and Argent Lakes. I mean, it's truly a beauty. So it's a good way to see the course and the back of homes, but also most of us are from somewhere else. Yes. And we're not familiar with the native plants or the birds that are here or the things like snakes. They're most of them are afraid of snakes, but now they know what good these snakes are doing for us, along with the vultures. So it's learning how to keep the beauty here and the things that they can do to help us maintain that beauty.
Excellent. I'd leave you with one request for a commercial. What would you say to folks who haven't thought about coming out and checking out these nature tours?
It's a wonderful way to get to know the nature around them. They probably have heard many stories of things that aren't true. For example, all these lagoons are connected, and they're not. But there's many myths, if you will, that we can educate people on. They can be better, more aware of their environment around them. So it's not only to help them enjoy it, but to learn about it.
Maybe we should remind everybody, how do you get to be a participant in the nature tour?
Well, starting in November, it will be online, so watch for it. It will be advertised through Sensations and our e-newsletters on how to register online.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you for watching ION. If you would like us to cover your next event, please contact us at least 2 weeks prior to the event at suncitytvhh@gmail.com. See you on the next In Our Neighborhoods.